Welcome to the Maximize Business Value podcast, brought to you by Mastery Partners, where our mission is to equip business owners like you to maximize your business value and achieve the exit of your dreams, whatever that means to you. With insights gained from over 100 business transactions, we share real-world strategies, lessons, and expert advice to help you build long-term, sustainable value in your business. Each episode is hosted by one of our Mastery certified partners. They're seasoned experts who've helped countless business owners navigate the complexities of growth, scaling, and building value. They bring first-hand experience, actionable insights, and a passion for helping you build a business that thrives. So let's dive in.
One. Hi, this is Dave Casey, and welcome to Maximize Business Value. This is a podcast for business leaders who are really passionate about growing their business and building long-term sustainable value in their business. So this show is really intended for business owners who are serious about this aspect of their business and making their business future ready. So my name is Dave Casey, and today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the, I would say, one of the most overlooked things in business value, sales, and how it's evaluated in our Transition Readiness Assessment, or the TRA. So joining me today is one of our seasoned experts from Mastery Partners, Darren Williams, to walk through what makes a sales organization value rich or value risky, and how business owners can benchmark where they are today. So welcome, Darren.
Dave, yeah, thanks for having me. Look forward to digging in this today. Yeah.
So we're both, I think, came from the kind of the sales side of the world. So this is kind of old hat for us, but doesn't mean we haven't made mistakes along our careers as well. But really, I'm going to start with the basics. So for those that are new to the concept, what is the TRA, and why is that a game changer for business owners?
Yeah, great question. So the TRA it's the transition readiness assessment, right? And really the way I describe that is it's our way of coming in and performing due diligence on your entire operation, top to bottom, soup to nuts. And really what we're looking for is several things. Ultimately, we're looking for gaps in the organization. We're looking for what's great. We're looking for your secret sauce, what makes you valuable, what you do better than anybody else. But we're also looking for those things that you can improve. We're looking for those things that if you went to sit down at a table with a buyer, might kill the deal, right? Might derail the whole transaction, because those things happen. Among the partners at Mastery Partners, we've all had similar experience with mergers and acquisitions and buying and selling companies from different angles, but we've all seen deals get derailed for different reasons.
And it's
so that's
blind
really
spot.
Yeah,
that blind spot that maybe the owner can't see until suddenly somebody from the outside looking at their company goes, whoa, stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Or something they may not think is a big deal. They think, well, I mean, we do lots of revenue, we have lots of sales, what's the big deal? But then a professional buyer comes in and it is a big deal, right?
Yeah,
and whatever that thing might be. And sometimes it's compliance, sometimes it's something legal, sometimes it's systems and processes, right?
Yeah. Well, today we're going to be talking a little bit about sales. So I'm going to kind of zoom in on that portion of the TRA. So one of the questions that we ask is, do you have recurring revenue? And if so, what percentage of your revenue is recurring? So why is that such a big deal from the buyer's perspective?
Yeah, so really one word that we kind of want to zoom in on is this idea of predictable, right? So think of recurring revenue, and frankly, not every business has recurring revenue, but think of it like a subscription model, right? It shows up every month. It is that very idea of recurring.
It's automatically billed.
Really,
the customer probably doesn't even think about it. They just it's buried in their books somewhere, so they're not conscious really that they're purchasing on a monthly basis.
Yeah, like a great example is like your Netflix account, right? It hits your credit card every month. Netflix bills you every month. It's just kind of there, and it's absolutely recurring. So recurring revenue, when you start talking about mergers and acquisitions, recurring revenue is more valuable than other types of revenue. So if you can ever get a piece of that in your business, the more you have, the more valuable it is.
Yeah, and I've seen that lead to much higher multiples when you start looking at multiples of EBITDA. If that EBITDA was generated by recurring, or say 100% recurring revenue, that business would generally carry a higher multiple, I would think.
Yeah, typically that's the case. And if you have a significant number of or percentage rather of recurring revenue, it's like we might even consider breaking that out and valuing this revenue one way and the rest of the revenue a different way.
Yeah.
Especially if there's different divisions in the company, it's that level of detail you really want to get into and prepare for.
And certainly buyers will do that. So, and like I said, what our job is to take a business owner through this process well before the buyer actually takes them through the process, so that there shouldn't be surprises when we get into that. So the next topic I want to tackle myself, and you can weigh in what you've seen, but we definitely ask if every customer is under a contract relationship with the company. And I've got plenty of companies that I've dealt with over the years. They say, well, we just have loyal customers. We don't want to ask them to sign a contract with us. We think that'll get between us and our customer, and that they're going to question, why are we doing that, and those type of things. But what I've seen is that there's a difference between loyalty and contract obligation. And again, the buyer looking at it, he doesn't know the history. You can describe it to him, but he doesn't really know what happened. And you could say, well, you've done business with XYZ company for 10 years, never had a signed contract with them. They're free. They can go do business with anyone they like tomorrow morning. They're gonna discount the value of that business, I would think, and just say, because you're not under contract with them, no matter how loyal they are, no matter what the track record is, if you don't have that contract, you're probably going to have some issues.
Yeah, and I think the important thing there is there's all different types of businesses, right? So if you're a software business, that's very different than retail, very different from, maybe, what we call the trades, home services, that type of thing. So, and it's possible that, whatever the industry standard is, maybe these conditions apply or don't apply, in your industry. But to go back to your point about the TRA, it's like, these are the things we want to discover. Yeah. And we don't want to discover that we're outside of the norm for our industry sitting at the deal table.
Yeah, that's true. And that probably would prevent you doing a lot of legwork and tracking stuff down for something that's going to be immaterial to the buyer too. If you know the type of buyer that might go after that company, then, but I guess I always default to try to get all the ducks in the row that you can, see what we can do there. Another question we ask in the TRA, and I've had business owners ask me, why is this important? But what percentage of your revenue comes from your top 10 customers? Why is this important in your eyes?
Well, we're looking for concentration, right? And the reason we're looking for concentration is risk, right? And, it's funny. I mean, sometimes we ask that question in top 10 and sometimes it's top 1, right?
Exactly.
I've literally had clients I'm sitting with, and it's like, well, we've got one client that's 40% of our business. And it's man, that's a lot of concentration risk.
And they don't feel like that's a problem at all sometimes,
Well, but again, what we're encouraging everyone to do is look through the buyer's eyes. Assume you were buying this business.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is answer that question, what am I buying? Yeah. And so that question comes to, okay, this one client is 40% of your business, or your top 10 is 50% of your business, whatever that is. If we lose one or two or multiple of these clients, like, we've had a significant impact to the business. How do we guard against that? And then as a buyer, how do we value that? And what is that risk? But yeah, that's one of those questions we absolutely look at and go through, and then we got to have a good way to explain all that.
Yeah. The other side of that, and I've had this conversation multiple times with people, is that, well, we understand it's a risk, but we all know each other really well. there's many reasons why these guys can't buy from somebody else. We are their preferred buyer, and a lot of that, comes into play. I think the challenge is an unexpected event could happen. There could be a change of ownership or a change in management at the customer, at their company that represents 40%, of their revenue. Or there could be something happen in their business and that they need to sell the business now. Maybe there's a health issue or something that the business needs to be put on the market and sold pretty quickly. So they don't have time to fix that kind of thing. So that's the thing where I try to urge people, as tempting as it is to continue to focus all your time and effort with this big customer that's a very profitable customer and it's easy to do business with, that doesn't strengthen the overall value of your company. So definitely what I've seen.
Yeah, and I think part of this is really the TRA is really about awareness, right?
Yeah.
And do these things need to be fixed or not? Do we just need to be aware of them, right? And frankly, how do we present whatever these conditions that exist? How do we present them to a buyer in the best light and make it make sense? So again, we can answer that question as a buyer, what am I buying?
So I'll ask you this next question, and we'll probably both tackle this one, but when you see a business that just is an amazing business, has a great product, great services and everything, but just has a very broken or totally undocumented sales process, what's your gut reaction when you get to that?
Thank you for tuning in to the Maximize Business Value podcast. This episode is the first of a 2-part release. Part 2 will be posted next week.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Maximize Business Value podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked new ideas on how you can continue driving value in your business. But remember, it's not just about listening. It's about taking massive action. Visit our website, masterypartners.com, for more resources. Grab a copy of any of the books in the Maximize Business Value series on Amazon or via the links below. And don't hesitate to reach out if you want to know how to apply these concepts to your business. So until next time, I'm Tom Bronson, reminding you to relentlessly execute while you maximize business value.